Hello everybody! Today I'm going to be talking about some more horror movies that I watched recently. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, here is my handle. I will definitely add you back if you add me because I love finding new movies. That's basically how I find new horror movies. And we can get straight into the video. First, from July, I want to talk about Ready or Not. This is a movie following a bride who is just newly got married into this wealthy family, and at this manor they basically have to play this game at night, and turns out it's a deadly game and it's very obviously hide and seek. This one's a very popular movie. I know a lot of people love this one. I love this one. I mostly watched it at the time that I did because of Samara Weaving. I just absolutely adore her. I had also watched the Babysitter movie. I did love the comedy. I genuinely did laugh, which is like a really big thing because horror comedies typically I just find enjoyment in. I don't really laugh a lot, but this one I did genuinely laugh. I really like the vibe and the energy of the movie as well that's portrayed in the manner and the temperature of the movie. That's what it is. I really like the temperature of the movie, and I thought it did have a really good ending. I mean, it's kind of like a typical ending. Next, from August, I want to talk about Ginger Snaps. This is a 2000s movie about two sisters who one night get attacked by a werewolf. One in particular gets attacked really badly, Ginger, who is the older one, and she starts, guess what, transforming into a werewolf. And paralleling this is her growth as a teenager as well. Obviously this has big themes about growing up as a woman. Also, this movie is just iconic. I mean, it is so good. I love Ginger to the max. As an older sister, I am totally annoyed by Bridget, or B, I think that's her nickname. I was like, girl, mind your business, mind your business. But I totally get what she was doing. They had a really strong connection, so understandably she'd want only the best for her sister. It's such a 2000s movie as well. It literally came out in the year 2000, and I thought it was like the epitome of every coming of age movie at that time. And I feel like the only thing I could really say about it is it's iconic. Oh, you know what I wanted to say? You know that guy character whose name I've forgotten that was like helping B throughout the movie? I found his character to be absolutely unnecessary. Like, he didn't really add much. And I mean, he got the ending he deserved, but like, I feel like they wanted to go somewhere with that, and then the directors remembered, oh wait, hold on, maybe this is not okay. So I found that to be really weird, and it did seem like it just abruptly changed in storyline of like what was happening. But besides that, I really liked it. Also from August, I want to talk about The Taking of Deborah Logan. This movie is about a group of college kids who are making a documentary, and they decide to make a documentary about Deborah Logan, who is experiencing Alzheimer's, and that's obviously what the documentary is about. And of course, it's a horror movie. You could assume stuff goes wrong. Progressively, actually, it's about like that slow burn from how she is at the beginning to how she is at the end. And I did like it. We could talk about that. I did like it. It's found footage. I'm obsessed with found footage films. It totally adds to horror movies a lot. And this one's mixed media as well. It's not just like head-on shots of the documentary crew or the kids or whatever. It's like these graphics that they have. They have like interview at one point. It's really mixed, and I really like that. Why I didn't absolutely adore it as much as other people is because the acting is atrocious. That was like the scariest thing about this movie. There's this very natural acting that has to come with doing found footage, because obviously you have to feel like you're watching found footage. It has to feel real. It has to feel natural. But the acting was so forced that it just really felt like they were acting, and it really took me away from the movie, which is why I didn't enjoy it as much. I really liked the gore. I liked the slow progression. Those are like my favorite movies, where we start from one extreme and we go to the other. I had no idea where it was going, which was really nice. If you haven't watched that one, definitely recommend, but just know that the acting is not the best. The one movie I want to talk about from September is Creepshow 2. This is just an anthology of different stories I think Stephen King and someone else had written, and then obviously have been transformed into movies. I think there's 3 installments in this series. This is the second one, released in 1987, and it has 3 stories, of course, and I think that's really all I could say. I mean, this movie is great. I really liked it. I watched it without... Okay, hold on. I really like watching stuff in order, even if like you don't have to watch it in order. But I watched it anyways because I really wanted to just watch something quick, nice, maybe a little bit cheesy, and this was like my best option. I think I watched it on Tubi, and I think it's still on Tubi. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen. But if you don't know Tubi, Tubi is basically where you just watch like free stuff. And I like to watch B-rated stuff there because entertainment, right? I think what I liked about this movie is that it was so 80s that it just really brought everything together. Although I do have a really big issue with this one scene that I won't say what it is. There's this one scene in the second story that happened more towards the end of it, and it was completely unnecessary. It came out of nowhere because the characterization was out of place as well. And I feel like with the type of scene it was way worse putting it there than like not including it. It was just out of place and I really hated it. Yes. I'm very excited to talk about this. So you think I have more movies to talk to you about from October, but I decided for some reason that I wanted to binge watch the Into the Dark Hulu movie special series that they have going on, where they basically just have a bunch of properly themed horror movies that they create seasonally, eventfully. And so that was the main content of horror movies I was watching in October, or more so towards the beginning when I had that time. But I'm going to do a separate video on all the Into the Dark movies that have been produced so far, so I didn't want to talk about those, and I only watched a couple other ones that weren't from that series. And I do have a couple of those that I do want to talk about, starting with one that's possibly my favorite of the year. I do not know yet though. Obviously we still have a month to go. But Climax. Let's talk about this movie. In this movie, we have a group of young dancers who gather at their school one night to just have a big party. And what ends up happening is something gets laced with LSD. Obviously, they're all consuming this thing and they all get laced. And it's just this progression of the beginning of the movie where everybody's just partying, having fun, to like the end of the movie where so much happens and so much goes wrong. This movie is basically just warning you that LSD is unpredictable and you don't know what's going to happen if you take it, which is absolutely terrifying. A lot of people when they watch this movie are like, yeah, I'm never going to do drugs, which is very understandable. It's scary not having control over your own actions. I think a really good drug PSA, to be honest. I really liked that progression. I mentioned earlier with the taking of Deborah Logan, I really like when movies go from one extreme to the other and they kind of show that slow growth over the entire movie. And this movie does that the best. I mean, the name of the movie is literally Climax. We get to this point in the movie where there's this like realization and everybody starts freaking out. The energy of it was amazing. There's this whole dance sequence at the beginning, which is just absolutely incredible. The dancing is very interpretive as well, which I really like because then it just adds to like the creativity. The aesthetics, I know that word means something else to a lot of people, but I really like using that word to describe the kind of overall energy or the overall vibe of the movie. The aesthetics of the movie are incredible. It uses a lot of neon lights, and there's also one-shots as well, where you know one-shots. They just do one whole big scene in one frame. The whole movie isn't one shot though. There are cuts, especially for this like big 10 to 15 minute thing in the middle of the movie where everybody's just talking to each other. Which was nice as well because the acting was very natural. It genuinely felt like it was just a bunch of college kids partying, which I thought was cool. Also, this movie is apparently based off of a real event that happened. I don't know if that's true or if they just added that, but I think it is. And I kind of want to research that. I surprisingly haven't researched that yet. This movie is great. It's definitely more about this whole slow progression of the drug effect on everybody. So if you like plot-driven movies, this is not the movie for you. I feel like this movie is more character-centered, and that's really all I have to say. Phenomenal movie. 5 stars. I'm going to rewatch it in December. This year specifically, Amazon has their deal with Blumhouse where they released a bunch of movies, and I did watch a couple. I'm not going to talk about the other one because I didn't really like it that much, but I do want to talk about the other one that I did watch, which was Nocturne. We have a sister or 2 sisters who go to this boarding school for creativity, and they're basically studying music, and one of the sisters becomes obsessed with overtaking the likeness of her other sister, whom is very well known. and everybody does prefer, or everybody finds her more talented and whatever. It's just an obsession story about being better. And I did really like it. It stars Sydney Sweeney, and I had yet to see something with her. I haven't watched like Euphoria or The Handmaid's Tale. Literally, she transforms so well. She looks like an 18-year-old. I think she's 18 in this movie. She looks like she's 18, and then I looked it up. She's actually like 23, and yes, there's a difference there between how you look when you're straight out of your teenage years and you've already been an adult for some time. She literally looks like barely a year older than me, but she's 7 years older than me, sorry. Why was that math so hard? In general, I do like obsession stories, and I do think this one does add something to the genre. I thought it had a really realistic sibling rivalry, because typically in movies when two people are arguing, when it's just any two people really, they tend to do this thing where like one person gets mad at the other one and the other one is like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, and they get all sympathetic and stuff, and they feel really, they feel much regret for their actions. But in this movie, something had happened to the older sister, and she did not let down. She was very, very adamant on her actions, and I thought it was just realistic, because honestly, I maybe it's just because I would do that, but I would not submit so quickly to apologizing. And I think I liked that representation. From this month, I have a couple movies to talk about. I was only going to talk about one, and then I watched a horror movie the other night, so now we're going to talk about two. 13 Ghosts. Okay, this movie is just about this family who inherit a house from their late uncle, and in this house are 13 ghosts. Can anything go right if there are 13 ghosts within a house? It does have a plot line. I expected this movie, I didn't really know what this movie is about, first of all, when I watched it. I expected this one to be more of a slasher, and I was like, ooh, am I in the mood for a slasher right now? Because what else do you get when you put ghosts and humans together in a trapped house? But it's not a slasher, actually. It has a legitimate plot line. That sounded like a dish on slashers. I love slashers. I think they're the best, possibly my favorite cheesy horror movies. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that this one had an actual genuine storyline and like a complete wrap-up ending, as opposed to it just be a bunch of torture and killing. There's just something about this movie that is very comforting. I don't know, it's the music. Okay, I know what it is. It's the music. First of all, the music choice is excellent. There's also like, there's these slow-mo shots that make the movie seem more artistic than it actually is, which was nice. The way they did shots in general was super cool, so the movie's low-key shot really well. I thought the ghosts were pretty cool too, and how each of them had their own story and their own kind of vibe. I've said that word a lot during this video. I'm so sorry. And it was overall a fun time. Maybe dragged out a little bit too much, but understandably we needed to be introduced to each of the ghosts. Finally, the movie I watched the other night that I'm going to be talking about in this video is The Faculty. I had a sudden urge to watch this movie. I don't know why. Oh, you know what? I'm lying to you. I had just rewatched for the second time this year, But I'm a Cheerleader. That's like one of my all-time favorite movies, by the way. But I was watching it for a project, and I was looking at stuff afterwards to do for my film review or whatever, and I saw that Clea Duvall was in this movie, who's in But I'm a Cheerleader, and I've been wanting to watch this movie, and I was like in the mood to watch another Clea Duvall movie, so here we are. I watched it. If you don't know what this movie is about, it's basically just about these 6 teens who realize that there's some sketchy stuff going on with the faculty of their school, and they take it into their own hands to stop it. Let's just say alien-related stuff. Yeah, so it's a sci-fi movie. Technically, sci-fi horror. It's a very simple movie, I'll say that. Not exactly what I expected, but I still did like it. I'm making it sound like I didn't like it. I did like it. I gave it 4 stars, I guess, apparently. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this. I mean, the acting was good, or it was fine. I thought it had an easy enough to follow plotline. Very surprised at how quick we got into the whole alien plotline. So if you need a really easy movie to watch, definitely watch this one. Those are all the movies I wanted to talk about today. How many did I talk about? Sorry, I didn't even count. 8 movies, that's fair. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And by the way, if you've been brought to this video because you like watching people talk about horror movies. I don't do this. I don't do this often. I'm a booktuber actually, so if you like book related content, definitely subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye.